Minnesota in probably 20 years. Bring gas.
Welcome to Flagrant Howls, a Minnesota Timberwolves lifestyle podcast.
Wow, the Timberwolves. What a basketball game. We got the sports dad, Judd Zulgad, Phil Mackey here. Flagrant Howls here to recap a 116-104 Game 3 victory at Target Center tonight. Ordinarily, you and I would be doing this post-game show from Target Center as the arena empties out. But because we were on Vikings night 2 of the draft stream duty and we were waiting to see if they were going to do something, we weren't able to be at the arena. We will be at the arena for Game 4. But it felt and sounded like through the TV that place was raucous tonight at Target Center. But wow, what a victory. Clutch time turned into a near blowout in those last 4 minutes.
Yeah, so clutch time started with the Wolves up 103-101. The Lakers tied it up.
Yeah.
And the Wolves then proceeded to go on an 11-4 run, an 11-2. I've got it somewhere here in my notes.
Well, it was 103-103 for sure at one point. So it was a 13-1 run.
13-1
from that point. Yeah. Math is hard for us.
Absolutely. Yeah, especially for me. Absolutely crazy. But you know what? That was just a fantastic game. I mean, there's so many things that we can talk about, but I mean, you talk about Ant literally took over that game. How about LeBron James? Turned back the clock, 38 points, knocking down threes like it was going out of style. Yeah. That was a fantastic basketball game all around.
So we're gonna. I think the format that's been kind of fun here is biggest takeaway, favorite things, least favorite things. So we'll run the game through those filters here. But as people filter into the room here, and it looks like there's almost 1,000 of you already late in the night on this Friday. Click that like button and the subscribe button on the Score North YouTube channel. And let's talk about our friends at MyBookie here, who this is a fun time to be watching sports, and they can make it even more fun, Judd.
I was going to say, as if you need to get more of a sweat on a game, right? Like you were already sweating, but how would you like to be personally invested? Then you definitely need to check out my good friends at MyBookie. We're talking live odds, alt odds, playoff props, all of that good stuff. Playoff basketball, absolutely a great time to have some fun there. Go to mybookie.ag and use the promo code Flagrant Howls. That's mybookie.ag, Flagrant Howls, to bet the NBA playoffs. They've got some deals too here. Deposit $50 and you get an extra $25. Go bigger, $100. MyBookie throws in $50. That's right. So if you want to bet, I mean, Wolves obviously, but I mean, there's a lot of it. This is a perfect time of year with all of the series going on. Take advantage now. Again, mybookie.ag, promo code Flagrant Howls. Check it out and get even more of a sweat on than you possibly had tonight. And that was a major sweat.
Yes. Also a Neos Elite Performance powering this post-game recap tonight as well.
Yeah, you know what? If you used to play basketball, let's say that you were a high school star, or you played in college, or you just enjoyed playing, and now
or you're tired after your first big 38-point game in a long time in the playoffs.
Exactly right. Where should you be going? I'm going to tell you right now, you don't have to go anywhere. All you have to do is contact the fine folks at Neos Elite Performance, because if chronic pain is holding you back, Neos Elite Performance is going to help you. What they have is cutting-edge regenerative medicine and cellular IV therapy designed to get you going again. And here's the best part: no invasive procedures. This is what they call, what is called white glove service. It's delivered to your home. You don't have to go to the doctors. You don't have to leave your house. The excellent team at Neos is going to come to you. So if you've got knee pain, back pain, if you once played sports and think, you know what, I would love to feel great again, stop the suffering, Neos Elite's therapy is designed to reduce that pain, restore function, and get you back to doing what you love. And here's a special right now. Contact them. Just reference Purple Daily, our of course Viking show, and get $500 off a cellular IV therapy treatment. No surgery, no downtime, just results. NeosElite.com, Neos Elite, as you saw on the screen.com.
So let's start with our biggest takeaways from this game. I'll just give you mine right away here.
Absolutely.
We'd have to run through, his entire career to verify this, but that to me felt like the best, most dominant, clutch time, quote unquote, performance in Anthony Edwards' career. Now, there's been he's had a couple game winners, and he's pretty bad on the actual game winners. I'm not talking about like a buzzer beater. I'm talking clutch time as defined by 5 minutes or less in the game, 5-point game or closer. And you mentioned that it entered clutch time 103-101. It was 103-103. And from that point forward, I started logging the plays, and it is Ant brilliantly navigating a double team to find Naz Reid on the wing. Like he navigates a double team. They're blitzing him the entire second half. He throws kind of a no-look pass out to Naz Reid, cashes a 3. Okay, some breathing room. Next possession, Ant once again brilliantly splits the double team after they blitz him, hits a driving layup to, I think it was then a 7-point game. Ant then on the defensive end strips Hachimura to force a turnover. They called it a foul. He instantly does the, run that back.
Phenomenal play.
And not only was it not a foul, it was a clean play, and the ball bounced off Hachimura to force a turnover, up 7, 2 minutes left. Okay, a couple possessions go by. Anthony Edwards, step back dagger 3 to put the Wolves up by 10 with 2 minutes to go. And then Anthony Edwards drive and kick to Jaden McDaniels for a corner 3 to go up 13 points with 30 seconds left. So literally from 103-103, clutch time against two of the most tenacious clutch time players in the history of the NBA, LeBron James and an under the weather Luka Doncic, which we can talk about. And he wanted you to know that he felt bad.
I think he threw up at halftime.
Yeah, or
he came back
the other end,
or worse. Yeah, something happened at halftime that wasn't good for Target Center.
But that game got from 103-103, and then a tornado of Anthony Edwards offense, passing, defense, even a couple huge rebounds, and it winds up being a 116-104 final. So I think this was, if not it was certainly one of the 2 or 3 most dominant clutch time performances in his career so far.
So the Wolves' struggles in clutch time have been well documented, and rightfully so. Like during the season, a team that should have been much better in that time period was lousy, okay? But I told you about a month ago or so, I had a feeling when the playoffs started, it would flip a bit. Because players like Ant can flip the script on things. And, the same reason, and I think that this is true in all sports, but like in basketball, it's especially showcased. The same reason why he can't flip the switch against Washington in January is why he can flip it tonight. And he clearly flipped the switch. Like he single-handedly, he took the Wolves in a situation in which they were lousy throughout the course of the regular season. And he basically put them on his back and said, okay, screw it. I'll just do this myself. It's what great players do. And I'm going to tell you, I think one of the most important things to Ant's night was LeBron's night. Like he sees LeBron knocking down threes, like just unconscious at one point. I mean, that was incredible. This guy's 40 years old. It's stupid. But anyway, he sees that happening. And I think he's like, oh, okay, cool. And my God, in big games, how much fun is that guy to watch? Like he's yucking it up. And I know, I'm sure that offends some old timers, but he's yucking it up during a timeout with James. I believe there was one where he lost the ball, and instead of being mad, he looks at
Finney Smith.
Finney Smith, and he's like, "You got lucky because I was going to posterize your ass." I mean, it's just so much fun to watch that kid play.
But he like you said, he flips it. He's on one possession or a timeout, he can be this fun-loving, yucking it up, giving crap to officials, but then instantly go into I'm going to murder everyone on the court mode, right? And
he doesn't remain fun once the game starts. And I think on the next possession down the floor, he felt that he had been fouled by LeBron and was immediately complaining about it. So my favorite, this is probably for the second time in 3 games, Jaden McDaniels had 30 points. Jaden McDaniels had a monster game. He only made 1 of 5 3-pointers, but he pulled down 5 boards, 30 points, 13 of 22 from the field. Jaden McDaniels has, in the 2 wins at least, announced his presence in a huge way and has played a huge role. And again, this is the guy, this is the Jaden McDaniels, 1, that you're glad the Wolves paid, and 2, that you would not trade. I mean, tonight's contribution was absolutely enormous. Now, Ant at the end was the star, but you don't get to the end that close in this game without Jaden McDaniels having the type of night that he did.
Yeah, I mean, he has been a massive mismatch in this series, and that's one of the things we talked about after game one. All the talk about who's going to guard Luka. Luka's going to cook Rudy, and he cooked Jaden in that series against the Mavs last year, and who's going to guard Luka. Yeah, obviously, like, who's going to guard Luka is always a big talker, but we kind of said on this show, if you look around that room with the Lakers, and Jaden said after game one, I looked around the court and said, I'm the tallest guy out here for most of the game, so I can get into my mid-range bag. I can get into the restricted area. The Lakers don't have a great answer for Jaden McDaniels. I mean, they could put LeBron on him, but then that leaves LeBron off of a Julius Randle or an Anthony Edwards in certain spots, right? So the fact that Jaden McDaniels can just sit out there and run circles around Reeves or Hachimura or whoever they put on him, it's been a big mismatch in 2 of the 3 games. I mean, he's literally had his 2 highest career playoff outputs, scoring-wise, have been in this series.
Yep.
It's the first time he's ever had 30 points in a playoff game. So, yeah, he wound up taking the second most shots of anyone besides Anthony Edwards. He took 9 more shots than Julius Randle. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, like, he has to take those threes, even though he's not a great three-point shooter. From 2-point range, Jaden McDaniels was 12 for 17 in this game and also got to the free throw line, hit 3 of his 4 free throws. He had the and one conversion, too. So, yeah, just a huge Jaden McDaniels game in this one, too.
It was, and back to your point about the building, it sounded just absolutely electric. It sounded, and look, you know what? I will say this. When the Minnesota sports teams give the Minnesota sports fans something to cheer or be excited about, like the X last night was a zoo, it sounded like. Yeah. Tonight was great. Like, fans here are fantastic fans when you just give them a morsel of, like, hey, here's a playoff game for you. And I don't know if that plays a role in winning the game, but it certainly does not hurt your chances. It certainly helps you, I think.
Yeah. I mean, against that team, Luka certainly doesn't get phased by, like, I think with Luka, LeBron, and even Redick, like, did you see JJ Redick's pregame comments about kind of the raucous atmosphere potentially? Yeah. I mean, he got this, like, sadistic Grinch-like grin on his face.
He's right, though. I do love this.
You got to embrace going in there. These people, he said, these people paid a bunch of money to sit in this arena, and they got their Timberwolves shirts on, and you want to send them home miserable. It's like, I think the Lakers kind of feed off it. And the Lakers threw some punches tonight. And that's another, I guess, just continuing on our favorite things. We kind of touched on already, but another one of my favorite things is the Wolves absorbed the LeBron throwback game. Mm-hmm. We were kind of wondering, is there an old school LeBron game in there somewhere? If you really dig back in the last 5 years of LeBron James playoff history, he only has one offensive performance of more than 30 points. He's had a couple 30-point games, but he's only scored more than 30 points once in a playoff game since 2020 in 5 years. So tonight was actually the second highest offensive scoring night in the playoffs that he's had in 5 years. And you absorbed it. He hit a bunch of threes, ridiculous old school shots, 38, 10, and 4.
Yep.
And you won. And I don't want to tempt fate here, and I'll knock on wood. I don't know that, especially with the game on Sunday, a quick turnaround. It's less than 48 hours. You don't get, it's like half the rest time that you've had in the first 3 games of the series. I don't know that there's another 38-point LeBron James game in this series. So to absorb that and still win is huge for the Wolves.
I think if you're the Lakers, you're probably hoping some of those points flip to Luka on Sunday, that he spends tomorrow in bed and recovers somewhat. But you know what's really intriguing about at least the box score from tonight's game is this. So in game 2, the Wolves were terrible shooting wise. So like that loss was largely on them because they couldn't hit a shot after not being able to miss a shot in game 1. But I think tonight's box score is somewhat of a reality check in this sense. LeBron, 38. So monster game. Luka, 17 points. Not a monster game, but like, let's just redistribute the points because between the two of them, Doncic and James had probably about what they can score as a duo. It might be distributed differently. Austin Reeves, who was great at the start tonight, 20 points, okay? So the Lakers' big three had really successful nights, and they still lost.
Yeah.
And the bench scoring was 25-19 Wolves. My point being is there is just the reality of if both of these teams, and I thought tonight's game was fantastic. So if both of these teams are playing like they probably can play, this isn't a fluke. This is not a fluke. And the Lakers' turnovers tonight were a major problem, but I feel like you got to give some of that credit to the Timberwolves.
Yeah. Well, the Wolves' size and length and energy and athleticism makes the Lakers uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Luka is kind of this, Luka had 5 turnovers. He gets a little sloppy with passes and he's under the weather or whatever.
He does, yes.
LeBron is 40 and he only turned the ball over a couple times. And like Austin Reeves, this is a decent Austin Reeves game. He hit a bunch of threes in this game, but Austin Reeves is grinding to get offense in these first 3 games because he's having to deal with Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels, and Nikhil off the bench. So yeah, when you kind of break down these 3 games, and Gabe Vincent came in and did a couple things, but the Lakers have scored an average of under 100 points in the first 3 games of the series. So if the Wolves can just continue to play the same level of defense, and you're going to have a couple quarters here and there, where the Lakers are going to have like a 35-point quarter. They had one in the first quarter of game 2. They had the 32-point second quarter. So you're going to give them like one really good quarter. But over the course of the long haul here and 2.5 hours and 100 possessions, the Lakers are having a really hard time against the length and the physicality and the athleticism of the Timberwolves to even get to 100. So if you're the Wolves, it's like just keep playing that defense and keep moving the ball and getting open looks, and you're going to win the series. If you can score 108 points, like, you're going to win these games against the Lakers.
Gobert tonight, 1 point and 3 boards, but they still won, and he had some key defensive plays.
Yeah, the Wolves, in those 25 minutes he played, again, like box score wise, would love for him to grab a couple rebounds once in a while. The Wolves should not be, at one point, they were being out rebounded by like 7 to start the fourth quarter. They grabbed all the rebounds to end the game, basically. So these two teams wound up tied with 38 rebounds. I feel like, and this is on Gobert in part, like, they should not be losing the rebounding battle in this series. It feels like they've got the height advantage. They've got the age advantage in a lot of ways. But credit to Chris Finch. Okay, Rudy certainly wasn't a detriment because they won the minutes that he was out there.
Sure.
But that clutch time lineup that they ended the game with the last half of the fourth quarter, Rudy was on the bench. It was not, they went all offense basically. Naz Reid, Julius Randle, Jaden McDaniels, Dante DiVincenzo, Anthony Edwards. And they played great defense with that lineup, and all those guys can knock down a 3. So to close the game with Conley and Gobert on the bench was a really smart chess play by Chris Finch in this one.
I just feel like of all 3 games thus far, tonight's was the most realistic reflection of what could happen again. I don't think there were a lot of flukes tonight.
Yeah.
Because James is probably not going to score 38 points again on Sunday, but Doncic is probably going to score more than 17. So, like, if you look at what transpired tonight, I think it was a very realistic reflection of the fact that we have now sort of, after 2 games, settled into the series. And once you do that, the question becomes, okay, is this sustainable? Well, from the Wolves' point of view, I think the answer is absolutely yes. And they're deep. Like, that's the thing we've talked about since nationally, not locally. I'm going to be fair here. Since nationally, everybody said at the start, the Lakers are going to win the series, 5 or 6 games. I mean, the one point is the Wolves are deep. And I had the ESPN Mike Breen telecast on tonight. And I will say this. The amazement at how good Jaden McDaniels can be from people who have not seen Jaden McDaniels. Breen's like, you'd realize when you see him in person how lanky he is.
Yeah, I guess because if you're not watching every game, and even if you are watching every game, sometimes there was like that 2 or 3 month stretch where he broke out. But if you're watching a Wolves game in December, you're like, oh, that guy just kind of stands in the corner. Like he's a good defensive player.
Yep.
But when they truly, this is such a great series to unleash him because the Lakers don't have the size to really alter him in the paint, and his sweet spots are that mid range and that restricted area and getting to the rim, and he's just getting to those places whenever he wants to. And you'll see, Anthony Edwards is trying to navigate. I guess here's another favorite thing. The Lakers decided tonight, more than I feel like the first 2 games, we're just going to blitz and double team the hell out of Anthony Edwards. And he's still trying to figure it out. He's not perfect at it. There was one of those possessions late in clutch time where he kind of got backed up against half court and he's trying to figure out what to do with the ball, and then he winds up driving and the ball goes out of bounds. But I love Jaden is now cutting a lot more, it feels like, in those situations and just trying to make something happen in the paint. So, yeah, but to your point, it is funny that most fans and outside media go into a series and think like, well, you don't really have to worry about that guy going off for more than
He's just
9 points in a game. Yeah.
Right. Well,
but he's perfectly capable of averaging 20 points if you were to run enough actions for him.
And I don't think until you see Jaden McDaniels for a sustained period of time, there's a realization of how good he is defensively, because you probably forgot from last spring.
Yeah.
This is the thing about guys like him. Ant is on another plane when it comes to this. But I will say, the more I see Jaden in playoffs, when Jaden sort of knows his role or knows what he can do, and he's incredibly focused, that's what makes him so good. And I mean, this is true in all sports too, Phil. Some guys are more playoff type of players. Like when the lights shine brightest, which is weird because Jaden seems like he's such a quiet guy, and but now when I've seen him play against some very, very good opponents in situations, it feels like if he has a purpose, he's really, really good. And if he's sort of the guy that stands in the corner on December the 20th, he's just sort of there. But I mean, this is a different cat. And tonight between him, I thought, and to a certain extent, shout out Julius as well.
Yeah.
I thought those 3, and Julius continues to bring sort of just this intensity and bully ball, and he might not be sexy to watch, but I'll say this: I think he is extremely effective again, especially in playoffs, because things get mucky.
Yeah, he does. He brings, there's like an aura, man. Like he's tough. He fights. Sometimes he can get a little too happy with that 3-point shot, and sometimes he can be a little bit myopic with, all right, it's my turn to make something happen. But what you can't complain about, for many, many years, we sat here and Cat bounced back and was brilliant in that Game 3 win after basically just doing nothing for 12 minutes in the fourth quarter of Game 2. But
yep,
my frustration with Cat oftentimes was there wasn't like a go-to, hey, they're taking you out of the game, or you've been quiet for a while, or your team needs a bucket. And it's like, yeah, he could hit threes, but he didn't really have, he would drive wildly and sometimes it would turn into points, but he just didn't have a go-to in situations where your team needs a bucket. Julius Randle kind of does. It's that put your shoulder down, or sometimes that little fadeaway in the paint. And those are tough shots for a lot of players, but those are like pretty high efficiency shots for Julius. But yeah, the toughness that he brings, it's kind of hard to quantify, but you can kind of feel his presence. And also, he's out there guarding LeBron and Luka, and yeah, like they're cooking him sometimes, but he brings a big athletic body to make life hard on those guys.
Yeah. Well, the incredible shot that Doncic hit right in front of the Wolves bench, where he was essentially out of bounds almost, and just an incredible shot. Julius was right there, and I love the look on. They showed the replay, and I love the look on Julius's face, which was like, I did everything I could possibly do.
Yeah.
It's like, how the hell did that dude hit that
insane
shot? Right, but it wasn't the old, oh man, I tried so hard. It was just like this, bleep that.
Yeah. If you're the Lakers right now, how would you feel if you're JJ Redick or you're in that locker room? Like, just psychologically, you hung tough for almost the entire night. It's 103 to 103. You're in the huddle. JJ Redick is mic'd up, and he's telling those guys, hey, if you grab rebounds, and like basically if you grab rebounds, we're going to win this game. And you get the 38-point LeBron performance. You get a 17 for 40 performance from 3-point range. LeBron hit 5 threes. Austin Reeves hit 5 threes. Dorian Finney-Smith hit some threes. Mm-hmm. Rui hit a couple threes.
Rui did make great mask, by the way. I love the mask. I love the eyes they put on the mask.
The Dark Knight, man. The Dark Knight.
I love that stuff.
And you lose by 12 points, and you're down 2-1. I guess, like, trying to put myself in the shoes of the Lakers here, what do you grab onto other than, well, I guess we still have Luka and LeBron, and they could just, if you cross your fingers, they could just take over a series because they're all-time great players.
Well, I think you probably clutch on to the fact that you were essentially tied when clutch time, started, and you were right there. But your reality is this: how many other complementary pieces, like I think your 3 main pieces showed up. You turned the ball over 19 times, which is ridiculous. But I mean, for the most part, LeBron, Luka, and Reeves showed up. Mm-hmm. And you still lost. And your reality is, you can go down the list of, well, this guy hit a 3 here or a 3 there. But when you look at the Wolves, and like Nas hadn't hit a 3 all night, which is not normal, of course, for him. But then he hits a late 3. So I think their reality is this: if the Timberwolves play like the Timberwolves can play with the depth that they have, this is why I've been confident since the series started. And I do think that at the end of the day, the Lakers will win at least a couple of games. So I'm not saying it's easy. It's going to be a fairly long series. But I think if you really break this thing down, Phil, you're looking at a team that is more complete, that has Ant, who is ascending. Like tonight, it was intriguing because, to go back a week to your list of the top 10 players, like tonight, Ant's like, screw Phil Mackey. I'm number 1 on that list.
Number, yeah.
So so I think your reality is not to jinx it here, pretty grim. But I could see hanging on to things if you're the Lakers to try to say, oh, we were right there. But I just don't see where the complementary pieces are going to outdo the Wolves' complementary pieces.
Yeah, and the Luka thing is, I guess, what you and people in the chat are saying that too. That all right, he's not going to have a stomach virus or whatever he was dealing with.
Right, but LeBron's not. But I agree with you. LeBron's not going to get 38 again. So those points combined are probably about right for the pair. They'll just be redistributed on Sunday, but that still doesn't get you a win.
And it kind of feels like so far in the series, if you just want to simplify it by, it's whoever scores more points, right? Well, okay, Anthony Edwards is kind of canceling out Luka from a scoring standpoint. Or if you said Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle are kind of canceling out LeBron and Luka Doncic so far in the series. And then, okay, let's take those 4 guys off the board. All right, Austin Reeves is maybe good for 18 to 25 points, depending on the night. Like he can go off for 30 or 35, but so Austin Reeves is a pretty big time scorer. Well, the Wolves have any number of guys that could pop off for 18, 25, or tonight you get 30 from Jaden McDaniels.
Right.
So there's just and there hasn't even really been a big Dante DiVincenzo game yet.
No, he's been erratic.
Yeah, like he's still grabbing rebounds and moving the ball and doing Dante DiVincenzo things, but he is 9 for 26, least favorite thing category here. Yeah. Dante DiVincenzo is 9 for 26 so far in the series. You got to think there's a big playoff Dante DiVincenzo game coming.
How about Ant reaming him out?
Yeah, what'd you think of that?
I thought it was a little bit frontal in front of the crowd, but I thought that Ant was totally correct with why he was mad. Like, what, dude, that's your shot. Corner 3?
Yeah.
And you're passing to Julius with the shot clock basically at zeros? Like, I guess I would prefer, if I'm Chris Finch, for Ant not to get that pissed off. But on the other hand, I totally can see it. And that's the thing is, Ant has, to his credit, I mean, this guy is a pretty complete player, right? Because he could score a ton. He could drive. He could shoot. He missed a couple of drives again tonight. He's got to fix that for at least next year, if not in the playoffs. But he can drive. He can shoot threes. He can facilitate, and he can play defense. Yeah. So I understand the frustration there. But I also thought it was weird because I just thought it was flat out weird Dante didn't shoot. Didn't you?
Yeah, well, he wound up in that situation. Yes, I mean, he was 2 of 8 from 3 tonight, and that there's certain times where he just goes into these runs of a week or two or whatever, where he's just not quite as dialed in. The first 2 months of the year, he wasn't quite dialed in.
Sure.
He was on fire for like a month and a half. It felt like to end the season. It just feels like he's fighting his jumper a little bit, and I think he did hit that one on the. It was like in the right corner. He hit that. He did like a little crossover kind of step back thing and got the crowd buzzing.
Yep.
But it kind of feels like he's searching for his rhythm as a shooter, and everything kind of plays off that for him. He's one of those guys that just hits you in waves. Mm-hmm. So that's a hammer that has not dropped yet in the series. Nikhil has been cold as a shooter too. So I feel like, again, like the Wolves are sitting here up 2-1. And other than them going bonkers lights out from 3 in game 1, nothing else feels unsustainable in the series.
Right.
And you could even argue that there's like other levers. Like Rudy didn't even get a shot off tonight. Like Rudy's easily the tallest guy on the floor. And it feels like there's some opportunities for offensive rebound putbacks or lobs and stuff. They haven't even used that part of their offense yet in this series.
Except the steal on Doncic was fantastic.
That was cool. Yeah.
That was a great play. And I know he's sick, and he probably got the rest of the guys that he played against sick because he's got the flu or something. But that play by Gobert was absolutely, if nothing else, poetic justice.
It was.
And I hope that ends up on all of the highlights after, they showed. In fact, when they came back from break, of course, they showed the Maverick shot last year where he got Gobert on skates, but then they showed this thing from tonight as well. So at least they did that.
I mean, he's doing a great job in these situations, and it's, he's for some reason players just hate him, like former players, current players.
What does he do?
I don't know if it's like a personality thing, because he has kind of a quirky personality, but. Yeah. And again, he's like, go grab a rebound, dude, and find some offense. So I'm not saying he's infallible here, but he's done a great job. The Lakers again tonight hunted him a few times in isolation. All right, here's Luka, and he did a great job. Okay, our guy Kyle Theige is going to join us in a minute from courtside at Target Center. But before we get to Kyle, Judd, MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning is helping power Flagrant Howls here.
You talk about a star player. You talk about a 1A. I'm going to tell you right now, when it comes to plumbing, heating, and air, MSP, they are a superstar. They are absolutely fantastic. How do I know? Because they've been to my house several times. Why? Because I can't fix anything to save my life, including my furnace, but they came out and did fantastic work. And they did this too because I am part of MSP's Total Comfort Club, and I want you to join now because for only $8 a month, you get an AC tune-up, a furnace tune-up, and a plumbing check all included. Members get priority service, no waiting days. If something goes wrong, they are right there. And if you do need repairs, members get 10% off service. Give them a call, 651-615-4292, or check out their website, callmsp.com. Call msp.com, join the Total Comfort Club, and have the peace of mind that I do.
I see Kyle's holding. Well, we'll bring Kyle in here in a second. Where'd you get that? My God, we'll bring him in a second. But it's just a big event town here. We love our big events. Like the NBA Finals are going to be here in about a month. Judd, just projecting ahead, it's going to be great. Wolves and Celtics, and then the World Juniors. If you're a hockey fan, later on this year.
Best hockey tournament, in my opinion, in the land. Absolutely great. In fact, Sports Dad is a huge fan. Watches it every year, but guess what? I don't have to see it on TV this coming season because I can actually watch it in person. The World Juniors, 10 glorious days of hockey starting on December 26th at the X. the best annual tournament around. Future pros, guys who have been first-round picks. It runs the gamut of superstar powers from countries far and wide. December 26th through January 5th. Group play packages on sale now. Go to worldjuniorsmn26.com. That's worldjuniorsmn26.com and get on board to root for the U.S. in what is a fantastic hockey tournament.
All right, let's waste no more time here. He's fresh from Wolves post game, locker room, podium, wherever he was roaming around. He is a man who travels around meeting celebrities, rubbing elbows with the Jason Segels, the Jack Blacks, courtside from Target Center. Kyle Theige.
Jason Segel.
Yeah,
I'm just here to. Jason Segel was courtside for game 2. I'm just here to talk to Judd. I met Connor McDavid at the hotel last week, and those hockey guys, Judd, are way bigger than you think, and they're all dressed really nice. So that's all I have for tonight. Connor McDavid, Edmonton Oilers down, I think 0-2 to the King. So thanks, guys.
There he is, Kyle
See ya,
Theige.
bye.
Hockey takes with Kyle Theige.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Connor McDavid, guess what? Team Canada World Junior Hockey Championship.
That's what I was
right
thinking.
There,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Right.
No question about it.
Yeah.
Star player, best player in the world right now.
So, hey, Kyle, we want to get your, because you, and give us anything that you've gleaned from behind the scenes there and just the post-game stuff. But I would say in the half hour we've been on, the two biggest takes that we've had are, A, that was probably the most dominant clutch time meaning 5 minutes or less, 5-point game or closer, the most dominant clutch time Ant performance of his career, considering context. 103 to 103, and he just took over in all facets, and it winds up being a 12-point win. And the Wolves absorbed the LeBron throwback game. Like,
Yeah.
LeBron threw up a bunch of threes and 38 points, and the Wolves still absorbed it and beat the Lakers to go up 2-1.
Yeah, LeBron threw up 38 points, and I think Luka threw up 13 times at halftime. He looked really sick. You'll never probably, unless it's like a really serious illness, get a Luka performance like that again. I mean, he is not the most agile, but he just didn't have it tonight. He still hits those 2 threes, as Finch said, when they were draped all over him. But, yeah, I think the two biggest things for me, just watching the game, everything to me is always the best thing ever. But to get a throwback game of LeBron doing that, I mean, I've been telling you, Phil, all week, like, you're not going to get 30 points from LeBron in this series, and I was so wrong on that. And then to watch Jaden McDaniels, speaking of 38, play 38 minutes, tie a career high with 30 points, and then also every minute he was on the court, he guarded LeBron or Luka. It's just incredible to watch. Post-game, Ant said that they won that game because of Jaden. Obviously, their clutch performance was also really well. I think Finch found a 5-man lineup when he went back to Nas instead of Rudy to close the game. But yeah, they kind of, I mean, for one night, in Saturday night or whatever night it is in Target Center, they exercised some demons because it was 103-103. LeBron had hit 3 threes in a row, and you kind of felt the same thing Wolves fans have felt against the Bucks, against like all these comebacks. And Ant kind of just went to another supernova level, found Nas for that 3. And I think the game was over after that point.
I think too. So the clutch time frustrations, I think there's probably a line, Kyle, that has to be drawn. The regular season's done, and there are certain guys who, when it gets to be this time of year, playoff time, right? And Ant is one of those guys. And I know it drives us crazy. I was saying this to Phil. January game against Washington, right? He can't hit a shot to save his life, or clutch time comes and he doesn't do something right, or he makes a dumb pass. I don't know. Take your pick. But there's something about guys like that. And tonight, like in clutch time too, he didn't just score. You got the full package, man. You got the full package. And that is a superstar right there. And I thought that was great. And I also think that LeBron's huge game helped Ant. I think Ant saw that and thought, you, my friend, you, my Olympic friend, are 40. I am entering my prime. Step aside and I will show you how it's done. And I think Ant loves stuff like that.
I think you saying that he had a superstar game, it's getting to the point now, at least for me, where I'll be like, yeah, midway through the third, early fourth, I'm like, I don't know if Ant's really doing much this game. And then you looked out and he's like, oh, he had 29, 8-8, and 2 turnovers. The one thing Ant loves post-game is looking at the box score and kind of looking at all the stats. He was blown away. He whispered to Julius, they only had 8 turnovers. I thought that was kind of maybe the story of the game. Lakers were doubled up with 16. And I don't know if you guys talked about this yet, but I know that I was texting my friends midway through the third, like, hey, it's been great, Minnesota Mike, but we'll probably never see you again. And then his first couple minutes in that fourth quarter with no Ant and no Julius, he digs out that rebound. He banks in that long two. I thought Mike, again, Finch always says if Mike's not shooting, he's really kind of hurting the team because they need his shooting out there. But I thought Mike Conley reminded you and all of us tonight why he probably still is in the rotation, because he had some clutch shots in that fourth to kind of give them some breathing room before LeBron hit those threes.
Yeah. Kyle, there are some fortunate people who bought Apple stock in December of 1980. You are one of the people that bought Jaden McDaniels stock in December of, 2021. He has now, of all the playoff games he's played in, his 2 career-high scoring performances have both come in this series. And one thing we talked about before and after Game 1 was no one's really looking at it from everyone's, is Jaden going to be able to guard Luka? Luka cooked him last year. He's a matchup problem offensively for the Lakers. Like the Lakers, the only guy they can really run at him to give him full problems is probably LeBron. But then you're taking LeBron off of other offensive players that could go off too. So Jaden McDaniels is a problem, and I don't think it's a fluke in the series.
Yeah, the connection in Target Center is really bad because no one has tweeted at me, Phil, about how much Jaden makes this season. So we'll have to look into that. But 30 points and only 6 of them were from 3 or from the free throw line. And I think in the first quarter, maybe early in the second, he had 12 points and they were all like mid-range, get to the rim. That's what he has to do. Again, 1 for 5 from 3. He had some killer misses again. You saw those misses in Game 2. Everyone missed in Game 2. But yeah, I mean, they really need it, right? Like, he is a weapon that they don't really have an answer for the Lakers. LeBron obviously would be a good one, but you don't want to ask LeBron to try to give you 38 points and have to guard Jaden. So they don't really trust Vando. They don't really trust Finney Smith. Can't move his feet enough to stay with Jaden. So Jaden, you saw the highs and lows of this whole thing. Jaden, when he's good like this and he's the second or third best option, they're really hard to guard and they can score a lot of points. But then in Game 2, when he kind of gives you nothing. So I just think if you rewatch the game tomorrow, the points, the career high 30 is great, but just watch him again. Like, he just guards Luka for 24 seconds. And this team still, after a made basket, they sometimes get lost. But Jaden, if you watch, he's quarterbacking, being like, hey, you got to go pick this guy up. You got to go pick this guy up.
You know what? The other thing he's learned, he's kind of figured out the Neo from the Matrix thing where, last year, it felt like guarding Luka, he did a good job, but then Luka would still find a way to pump fake bait him into a foul, get to the free throw line. And Jaden has now found a way to guard him closely because he's so much quicker and more athletic than Luka, but Luka can still kind of manipulate him and get him to jump in the air and at least get to the free throw line. But he's figured out how to wrap his body around Luka when Luka's trying to create those foul situations. So it feels like Jaden has learned a lot. Just back to that Western Conference Finals series defensively on Luka.
Yeah, and I don't know if anyone else can guard him. Julius has given him some good minutes, but I just don't think it's a Nikhil matchup for him or even Dante. Again, with Ant, Ant could give him some minutes, but it's like the LeBron thing. You don't want to burn his gas having to guard Luka. So that was another thing Ant said post-game. Ant always is tired. He said it. He's like, every time the first quarter's done, I'm always grasping for air. And he's like, I look over at Jaden, and Jaden's never tired. So he's kind of been the MVP of this game. He's probably been the MVP of this series. It's early. It's just 2-1. But, yeah, without Jaden McDaniels, they just don't really have another option tonight, and he was great. And then also, too, I think Naz Reid really had some timely shots there in the fourth quarter to kind of give himself a little juice going into Game 4.
What was the deal in the building with a whistle? So Doncic at one point stopped on a play that I think Jaden had an easy basket on, and he looked back, and then JJ went and jumped the official, and I guess they made an announcement. I couldn't hear a thing because of the crowd noise through the TV, but what was the deal with that whistle problem?
I think it was someone in the upper level, the 300 level, was whistling the whole time, and then it was on that shot clock violation that the Wolves had, where I think Ant had that fadeaway 3 that didn't graze the rim. But there was a whistle going off, so they tried to warn the fans. I'm getting kicked out, I guess. But the last thing I will say on the fans, Judd, is the first thing Ant said in the postgame was that he thought this was the loudest Target Center has ever been. He goes, after Julius had that first bucket, he goes, I couldn't hear the play. So it was a good turnout. I looked around the stadium and I was like, how many yellow and gold and white jerseys are you going to see? It was very minimum. So I just shout out to the fans that showed up tonight because this place was as loud. I know it's a round one series. It's only game 3, but I thought this was the loudest the building's ever been when I've been there. So,
Wow.
Yeah. Well, you're getting kicked out, which is probably a sign for us. It's past midnight here. We'll see you at the arena for sure on Sunday.
Stay strong, Kyle. Stay strong.
appreciate
Don't
you
move.
guys.
Hopefully Luka can find some Pepto-Bismol between now and Sunday, and or not, actually. It'd be great if he didn't, and the Wolves could just take a 3-1 lead. So, Kyle Theige, everyone, we'll talk to you sometime soon here. So, all right, any final thoughts from you before we put a bow on this thing? Wolves up 2-1.
I thought tonight's game was again the most. I thought tonight's game was a game that we could easily see again. I feel like game 1 a little bit odd, and that's the first game. First games are, often a little bit odd. Game 2, the shooting was atrocious from the Timberwolves. I feel like tonight's game is what you can build upon to win the series, and there were a lot of things I liked.
Yeah, this is not a fluke. Up 2-1.
No.
Everything feels very natural from how the Wolves have played since the second or third week in January, largely. And I think a lot of people, national media, certainly Lakers fans, have wanted this magical LeBron-Luka run. And maybe it would be great as a sugar high for the NBA to watch those guys and the Warriors and one more glorious run with these, LeBron, Steph, these guys who've carried the NBA for 15 years. But Anthony Edwards might have something to say about that. He certainly has so far.
Wouldn't you rather
the first
flip the
3
page?
games.
Wouldn't you rather flip the page? I mean,
the NBA should want to flip the page.
I was going to say, Ant's marketable, very marketable.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
he's a fun player to watch.
He's a little rough around the edges in some spots, but
Well, some of that, his rough around the edges on the court at times, I sort of like. I mean, there are things, don't get taxed, okay? But I don't know. I just think I think the Wolves are a fun team.
they are.
Like, I don't think that this is some homer bias. Oh, they're the Minnesota. I think they're a fun team, and I think they're deep, and I think they've got a lot of quality players, and I think they got a superstar, and that right there, my friend, should be a reason that the NBA should not mind if they win.
Yep. So, all right, he's the sports dad, Judd Zulgad. I am Phil Mackey. If you haven't already, you can help us keep growing Flagrant Howls and our Score North collection of podcasts, this awesome community of Minnesota sports fans, by clicking the like button and the subscribe button on the Score North YouTube channel. If you are listening on demand, Apple or Spotify, you can give us a 5-star rating and a positive review. All right, Wolves 116, Lakers 104. A very quick turnaround, basically a day and a half until 2:30 Central Time tip-off on Sunday from Target Center. This is a Timberwolves lifestyle podcast.